In this lesson, I'm going to talk about and demonstrate the concept of multidimensional arrays in Java. So we've seen that array can hold references to objects, and basically array itself is a reference type. So an array of arrays or multidimensional arrays makes sense. We can create arrays of 2, 3, or more dimensions. Obviously, if you increase the number of dimensions, the more complex and longer your program will get. But typically think of multidimensional arrays as comparable to matrices. So we can have a simple 2x2 matrix or 3x2 matrix or whichever kind of matrix. That's how the multidimensional arrays would function. So next, let me in fact demonstrate using our Java Eclipse editor how the multidimensional arrays work. And we'll primarily work with the string arrays. So let me switch to the Java Eclipse editor. So once I'm in my editor, let me go ahead and simply create a new class by right-clicking on the Java Introduction folder, choose New, and then click on Class. And we are going to call this Array of Arrays Demo, and then simply click Finish. So we have our new public class called Array of Arrays Demo. Move this up here. Next, I'm going to set some properties quick. So we'll have public, static, void, and then our main. Of course, our string goes in here with the command line argument. Great. Open up the curly braces. Perfect. Next, I'm going to create an array of arrays using string. So just go ahead and put string. And here's my first array, and here's the second array. So just basic concept of how you would build an array. I'm going to call it, let's say, cartoons. And this would equal my curly braces. And let's say various cartoon characters. I'm going to add Flintstones. Next is Fred. How about Wilma? And let's see, we got to have our Pebbles in here. And then let me put another one called Dino. Great. So this is our first row. Go ahead and close this. And I'm going to continue building on this, right? So my next row would contain, for example, Rubbles and Barney, and then I'm going to have Betty. Oh, fair enough. So let's close this one. Let's continue on. Let's build another one here, just so you can see. So here I'm going to have the Jetsons family, and we have George, and then Jane. That's all I can remember for these guys. All right, so next, go to comma. Let's do one more. Let's say, the Scooby-Doo gang. So here's the Scooby-Doo gang. Make sure I have my quotations. And then, of course, we have our Scooby-Doo. And then let's put another one here. I put Shaggy. All right, perfect. Let me close the curly braces and then put our semicolon. Now, once we have defined our array, right? So we just created a bunch of rows for our multidimensional array. Next, let's execute and tell Java, and I'm going to create a for loop here so that we get our printout. So for instance, I'm going to say for int equals, or I equals 0, semicolon, I is less than cartoons dot length, and then increment. So I, and then 2 plus plus. So here's our for loop that I identified. Fix up our semicolon. And then open our curly braces. And let's do the print. So I'm going to say system.out.print. And I'm going to print out the cartoons. And then this is where our array goes. So the way we print this out is we just tell it to print the I in the first array. So just put the I in brackets. And then the next array would contain the 0. And then, of course, add a colon between the two quotations. And close the parentheses. And next, I'm going to do the for loop for int. Let's call it j equals 1, semicolon, when j is less than cartoons And next I'm going to place the I within this array next to cartoons, and then dot my length, semicolon, and then increment j. Great. Let's go ahead and fix the syntax error up here. So I don't need a parentheses here. Great. So next, once I have the cartoons I array, and we specified j to increment, let me go ahead and open our curly braces, and then do a print. So system.out.print, and this time I'm going to print cartoons, and then my two arrays, first for the I and then next for the j. So again, we're building the matrix here, and then I'm going to add, of course, a semicolon between the two quotations, or just a colon between the two quotations, and then end it with the semicolon. Great. So once we're done, let me go ahead and let's execute this. So click on Run on the tool here, brings up the Save and Launch dialog box. I'm going to go ahead and click OK, and notice it creates the output, and it says Flintstones, and then give us the 3 names, or the 4 names rather, and then of course the Rubbles, and then the name, and so on. So this way we can create arrays of arrays, and then of course manipulate the output the way we want. Now the important thing here again is the string arrays, right? So it's multidimensional, and what this means is it's an array of first the empty array and then the array for the string. So that's why we have those 2 square brackets. So the string brackets is one array, and then we have our empty array for just the array itself. And also note that this is a 2-dimensional array. So I hope this helps practice, and let's move to the next lesson.